Welcome to Native Sessions here at ADE. My name is Tony Wachiku. I'm your host for the next hour and also. We've got a really interesting session for you. It's called Inside Traktor. You can see it up there. It's kind of split into three. The first section, Eric Goldstein, product specialist, is going to give you a demonstration of Traktor and what the possibilities are. And you'll have the opportunity to ask questions about Traktor. Incidentally, how many of you use Traktor here? Oh, wow. Okay. Just one or two then. Just one or two. That's all right then. So you'll have deeper questions then because you all know how to use it, I take it, which would be great. And then after that, we have a Q&A with two of the pioneers of the development of D2 SA S5, Michael and Engel, who you'll meet. And then we've got a panel with users of Traktor. So we've got a really good platform for you to ask all those niggly questions and compare techniques, etc., etc. Is that cool with you? Yeah? That's all right, isn't it? It's quite a good time we're going to have together, don't you think? Yeah? That's all right then. So to kick things off, Eric Goldstein, take it away, man.
Nice to see you. My name is Eric. I work for Native Instruments. I'm the product specialist on all our DJ products. And about 14 years ago, I went to a house party. I was playing in a metal band, and our drummer was on the computer, and he had this blue screen of software with weird-shaped waves going across, and he played a DJ mix with his mouse and keyboards at this house party. This was the first time I saw Traktor, like, I don't know what it was called, Traktor Studio 2 or something. And I was completely blown away by how he could do this and how he could mix tracks on there. And so I started to check the program out and became a big fan of the software. It's actually the way I learned how to DJ was with the software. I had a little computer keyboard where I took each of the keys out and I spray painted them in different colors to make myself a keyboard controller to control Traktor, to be able to change the tempo, to change the pitch, to nudge them forwards and backwards. And then I was in the lucky position. I didn't have too much money at that time, so I couldn't buy myself turntables or mixer. So I had my first DJ gig. I brought my big desktop with me to the bar or to the club I was playing at, and I had a little monitor standing underneath the DJ booth, and there I was with my keyboard and playing some tracks on there. And this was my step into the Traktor world. And from there on, it just started to change. So I got the Final Scratch thing later on, after I saved some money, finally, and could play with turntables, also something I couldn't understand, because you had this one vinyl record, and you had this really high-pitched noise on there. It's just a sound, but your software knows how to interpret that noise and turn it into something that the software understands, so it knows where your track is at, so you can play digital music as if you were playing real, actual vinyl. Then after that, we got this little Traktor Control X1, and when I was playing with the Final Scratch stuff, I was always on the computer and looking for tracks like that. And so I got the X1, and I could use the X1 to actually look for tracks, to load them up, to set up loops. I didn't have to touch this thing anymore. Still had to look at it though, but I didn't have to touch it anymore. And so DJing became something very digital, but it tried to step away from this digital thing. And then we released this controller, the D2, the S8, and the S5, and we have the displays on there. And now DJing is almost all the way back from the laptop again in front of me. And now I'm playing on this thing. I think back to the times when I was using these small, self-made controllers and the computer. And now I have everything in front of me and see this evolution of the software that I got to love 14 years ago and see where it's going. And just to give you a feeling of where we are going now, I would like to talk about the newest feature that we did, which is the stems feature, and just give you a little demo on how this sounds when I play with that. For those of you who don't know, the stems are a open multi-track format. So I just have one file that I can play in iTunes, and I can listen to it on my CD player. Or who has a CD player these days? Do you? No, I mean like the ones that you carry, yeah. Awesome. I have a Walkman. So you could listen to these tracks just on the go. They behave like normal tracks, but as soon as you load them into Traktor, you get access to the stems that a producer made available to you. So you can take away just the drums, you can take away just the vocals, you can take away just the bass. And I would like to demonstrate this to you, make a little bit music, and then we kick it off with the guys and let them talk about Traktor, what they think, where it's going, and how it is. And yeah, let me just start with some sounds here. So I turn this down and then slowly put it up, yeah? So you can see how my track is running here on this side. And you can see I have something red up here, something purple, something green, something yellow. And I can read in the displays that this up here are my drums. I have the bass line here, I have my synthesizers here, and I have my vocals down there. And so if the track is playing, I can just take away these parts. So drums are gone.
Take a seat,
or maybe
while I flex out.
Maybe just do a little a cappella version. Take everything away.
Put your A's up.
And then put everything back on. Take away the drum, take away the bass. Or maybe I want to mix into a track which has another melody, so I take away the synthesizer to make it more open for me.
Drop your ego. Oh.
So this is already a lot of fun. It's like using an equalizer, but knowing exactly what you cut out. So when you use the equalizer, you just cut this portion of the frequency band down, and then that's it. So if you want to cut the bass, you also end up cutting off the drums. And if you want to cut the drums, you also end up cutting off the bass. So here I have the possibility to go directly into the track and take away exactly what I want to take away. And it feels as if I was using a really, really good equalizer to me. I know our developers hate it when I say this because they say I oversimplify it, but if you ask somebody who plays with that, that's all what they're saying. And it's super easy to do and super fun and hands-on. So the next thing I could do is I could also go into these stems and just add different effects to these stems without affecting anything else. So usually, if I put reverb on this track, it would sound like this. So everything is affected by the reverb. My drums are affected, the vocals are affected. But I only want to affect the vocals and leave everything else dry and don't affect the signal of them. So I can also do this. I just turn off the sends here of my effects. And then add some delay maybe. So I have control of how each stem sounds. I can give them a little bit of the touch that I want to give to them. I can also filter these stems, so I can also go back to the vocal and do a low pass filter. Or I filter the drums. And play with it. Or I do something like this.
Drop your E's, drop your ego. Oh.
So now only my drums of this track are playing, and I took these drums away. Maybe some vocals of this track. Completely away. Load up another one really quickly and just play with the vocals in the other track. So I have these vocals here and add some effects on top of it. How low can you go? see, I have complete control over these tracks, and I don't even have to touch my EQ anymore because I'm just playing with the stems and choosing which parts I wanna have in there, I wanna hear, which is a lot of fun. So now I only have the bass line running with the harmonies here, and I could add a 4/4 beat again. Just keep on going like this. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, this is what you can do with stems, and I'm pretty excited to see where this is gonna go and what is gonna happen in the next 14 years, and what I can say about Traktor then, and how I can look back at this point. So yeah, thanks for your attention, and let's get started with the...
Nice one, Eric. Before you leave, though, have any of you guys got any questions that you want to ask Eric at this stage? No? Okay. You know everything, right? You know it already. Yeah? Okay, that's cool. All right, thank you, Eric.
There's one.
Oh, the one question. Okay, 1 second. We've just got a mic for you.
I hope it's not a hard one. Oh, you're asking if this is possible with an external mixer? Mm-hmm. So his question is if it's possible to do what I just did with an external mixer and some other controllers. That's definitely possible because if you have 2D2s or if you want to control stems, then you get controls for the volume, for the effect sends on and off, for the filter on and off, and for all these dials. So you could even take a third-party controller and completely map it to control the stems. And they are mixed internally in one deck in Traktor. So if you go to an external mixer, the stems mixing that you're doing on the controllers that you set up yourself will be done in the software before the signal goes out into the external mixer. So that's really possible. Yeah.
Nice one. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Thank you, Eric, once again.
All right, thank you.
Give it up for Eric. Thank you. Okay, next up we have the gentleman behind the development of the hardware. Give it up for Engel and Michael, please.
Hello, yeah. It's working.
We're working. How are you today?
Very good.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're knackered, right? Because you played last night. How was it?
It was really good. I use Traktor, you know? So obviously every gig with Traktor is pretty epic.
Of course it is. So for those of us who don't know who you are, which is most of us in this room, tell us a bit about who you are, your role at NI, and your road to NI.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, so my name is Engel. My role at NI is I'm a product owner for the system controllers. So that's the S8, S5, S2, and S4. And for us, what we call product owners, that we have one person responsible for this product and accompanies this product for the whole period of its time. So we design it with the designers. We go to the developers and then to the engineers. So like take complete responsibility of it. And we just kicked this off. And this role is fairly new this year. So it's exciting times. And I've been at NI for over 5 years now, in different roles before. And before that, I've also already been a producer and DJ for close to 15 years. And at a certain point, Exercise One, that's my musical moniker. And yeah, at a certain point, I needed a job on top of making music. And
supplement one's income and all that stuff. And
Exactly.
supplement one's vision as well. So, yeah.
But it was a perfect match. So, and part of the reason I got the job was also with that background. So it was a perfect marriage. And started working part-time, so there was a really good combination. And luckily, Native Instruments is full of musicians that need a job. And you can actually use that experiences a lot. And so I'm still there, and I'm pretty happy to be there. So,
Michael?
Yes, hi, my name's Michael. I joined Native 7 years ago, actually coming in as an intern when the company was, 50 people. So basically I knew everybody by name. It's around 300, 400 by now. I was very nerdy back then. That's what kind of got me that job, because as you know, Traktor is kind of a nerdy software as well, if you want it to be. And I had that skill.
It's still nerdy. We can nerd out later.
So basically, I had an internship, traineeship, then got a design position. Basically started working with another senior designer developing the X1, like the very first tractor controller we did. And then over the years, senior designer and now also like Ingo, a product owner for all the modular controllers. So basically X1s, D2s, F1s, Z2. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, also having a musical background as well. Wasn't that strong back then because I was quite young. But still having an audio engineering background actually. And now the music is kind of getting more serious now. Like learning people in the industry through the job at NI. So yeah.
So it's almost like almost a mirror of yours, perhaps, in some respects.
Yeah, absolutely, true.
So did you have a design background? I know you started as an intern, but did you have a product design background?
Not at all, no. No,
so those skills have been honed whilst being at NI, right?
Right. I mean, when you look at like very early designs of the X1, it kind of looks like Microsoft Paint, like really, really bad. Turned out nicely though in the end, but it was a lot of like learning by doing, and then I was very motivated in the beginning. I'm still very motivated, obviously, but a lot of like late nights learning, watching tutorials, talking to other designers, getting into Illustrator. Now it's a well-known tool.
And now you're using deep CAD style software and all that kind of stuff, I guess.
That's more happening in the industrial design. That's my girlfriend. In the background over there, she's basically doing industrial design. She's more on the CAD side of Traktor.
Cool. Right. But you oversee, I get anyway. You get where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it's been quite a significant year for NI, for both of you, in terms of the introduction of new controllers, namely the recently S5 and an S8 and the D2. Most notably, lack of the jog wheel. That thing you forgot.
Oops.
But it's a significant change, right? So can you talk us around the design process of either one or all of them, because I guess they were designed in tandem. But more importantly, talk us through the reasoning and thinking behind not featuring a jog wheel, and some of the challenges that you faced in terms of justifying the lack of the jog wheel.
I mean, to start off, maybe you can deep dive a bit because you were heavily involved at the time, really in the discussions. What I could just add, even though I wasn't involved at the time, but I was around, and I do also embrace the decision that it's not a crusade against jog wheels or against manual beat matching, and so it's not that we want to just kind of push only working with sync. And testimony to that is like he started with a vinyl record first and using Scratch, and our boss is an old turntablist and he still busts out routine at home. So I started on vinyl, so it's not about anything against something, but it's rather for something. Exactly. So it's more about the excitement, and the design is always a bit of a trade-off what space you use on a controller, and just the amount of excitement that built on the things we could envision doing and what we then did with the most recent controllers. That level of excitement was so high that it went in that direction to say, okay, let's find a new solution for what you do with the jog wheel and find that, improve on that, because that's part of DJing, you need that, but let's introduce new things. And of course, stems we always had in mind also with these controllers. And again, there we also saw yesterday Carl Cox, the amount of excitement coming out of him, and we did get this feedback. So that's kind of the reasoning for that. All like the doors we could open with that, and the possibilities we already saw then where we would want to go. That just got us so enthused to do that, and so we wanted to use the space differently. That's how I would put it.
Cool.
I mean, it was also about not making any compromises. I mean, I love vinyl. I love playing with timecode, and I think a turntable is still like the best jog wheel, like the best control medium. But basically, on those controllers, was about not making any compromises. So not having like small jog wheels on there, like trying to fit something in a portable form factor with small jog wheels, but still having a lot of buttons, stems, displays, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we basically provided DVS inputs, for example, on the S8. So if you want to use a jog wheel, use the jog wheel, connect a turntable to it, or use a CDJ. I mean, when jog wheels become that size, that also works really well. But I mean, basically fitting a jog wheel plus all the features that we wanted to put in to basically push the boundaries further and like bridging that gap between live performance and DJing, it would have been a compromise putting a jog wheel in there as well.
Sure. And were there any other design options, before coming to the pitch strip?
I mean, obviously there have been like way simpler ideas, like just working with knobs, buttons, kind of like we did it on the initial X1, like X1 Mark I was initially designed as an add-on controller for DVS DJs, so that's why it didn't have a touch strip, but it still had buttons for pitch bending and it still had buttons for BPM adjustment. And then we've seen like Richie playing with two X1s without timecode control. So we've basically seen that people worked with that very well, and I think a lot of people like that. People that basically beat grid their tracks, that play with like, yeah, let's say gridded music, have been able to work with that very well. But we basically, with the X1 Mark II, which was the first product that introduced the touch strip for Traktor, we basically wanted to allow people like a little bit more flexibility for people that only play with controllers without any jog wheel or timecode control, that they still, for example, if they play back to back with somebody else, that they still can like nudge something more in a natural way than hitting shift and a button.
You were going to say something, right?
Sorry.
Maybe.
I think he nailed it.
Oh, you nailed it. Okay. So again, for those of us who aren't privy to the development cycle, can you talk us through perhaps post S4 into X1, what were the stages of development in order to get to the S8 and the D2? I know it's obviously it's big, but just in terms of the core development processes.
I mean, we always do big surveys with our customers and like with other customers in the industry in general, and we've seen that there is this trend of people wanting to embrace like live sets, like live remixing as well. I mean, we've seen that F1, for example, was well embraced as well. Many people using it. And with providing, for example, something like the S8, an all-in-one system where we have everything in the box, we have like even a little bit more flexibility than with using an external mixer. We basically wanted to provide the best interface for the live remixer, basically the guy that wants to play more than just regular tracks. Also having stems already in mind. We obviously had stems in mind already years ago, but that was also like a very heavy influence for those products. As you see, like 30% of the deck is actually big ass buttons and faders, especially for that. And
it happens to be 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. Happened to be 4. So yeah, it was driven by a very performance focused aspect.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, also we heard yesterday that the stems idea was pretty like around for a long time, and so there was different iterations. So actually, there wasn't like a big stop or gap maybe after the S4 and like, okay, what do we do next? But actually, the sample decks started with you have like 4 slot or 4 decks or 4 sub decks, and the remix decks were also basically our chopped up stems. So that was also first test. So it kind of followed already an older vision in iterations in a way, and so it's like always the newest incarnation of some kind of broader vision that was already on the table. Of course, you always refine it and change direction, but actually it's a longer string of thought actually that these controllers are kind of at the end right now, and we're going to build on top of that.
And in terms of, because it seems that 4 is the magic number, right? In your case.
One big discussion was jog wheel, no jog wheel. But I think we covered the reasons why we basically went for no jog wheel in that case. But I mean, that in the end was the biggest discussion. But then also providing the right amount of controls where it comes down to 4. I mean, we've been thinking about 5, 8, but at some point, I mean, as a DJ, you still have a lot of stuff to handle. And then providing more than 4 was kind of getting tricky, like having 8 stems, for example, per deck. That really gets into like live act kind of things. So it felt like 4 is kind of like a natural number that people can manage, like having a 4-band EQ on a Zone 92. People are handling that every night, basically. So I think it was,
It works, right? Okay, over to you guys now. Has anyone got any pressing questions they'd like to ask hardware boys? Okay, any feedback? Yeah, who uses a S8? Okay, cool. And what do you?
Thank you.
You happy with it? Yeah. Okay, happy. The jog wheels. Well, as you said, you can still use jog wheels, right? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You can still use jog wheels, just connect them, right? Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Well, Ingo, sorry. Michael, thank you very much indeed. Give up. Okay, so next up we have users of Traktor, users in the field, and we're going to talk through their process and what it's like using Traktor for them. So give it up for Blondish, Endo, and Joyce. So how are you all? You good?
Good.
Yeah?
Great.
Have you all played already or playing at some point?
Yeah, kind of. Yes.
Yeah?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so let's start with you, Endo, perhaps. Yeah. So what I'd like to know is what we would like to know is your Traktor users. How long have you been using Traktor, and what is your setup? And what is your setup? And how long have you been using Traktor? And what is it like using Traktor from your own personal perspective?
I've actually been using Traktor since Traktor DJ Studio back in those days. So yeah, I started with that, moved on to Final Scratch when literally the day it came out, and then used Final Scratch with Traktor DJ Studio 3, and just been evolving my setup throughout the years. My current setup, I'm actually using the S8 with 2 D2s recently, but before that, I was using 4 CDJs in advanced HID mode. So basically, I have custom mappings that I've done for all the CDJs.
You've gone in, man.
I go in. I go in,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, I use the Maschine Mark II, which has my own custom mapping. There's like over 900 MIDI commands in the mapping, so I can control all 4 decks. But I'm always experimenting with new setups, new toys for each gig, and always mapping out the controllers to do the things that I want to do, like beat jumping and advanced track previewing and all kinds of stuff. Always just trying to step it up.
That's I'm always talking to you, I tell you. We are. Next up, Anastasia and Viv.
I guess we need to step up our game a little bit. We use it pretty traditionally. We still use advanced HID, the few CDJs, and up until recently, before stems came out, we were actually like making our own stems. I guess just pulling out, like, we'd comment on our drum loop melody, whatever, and like we'd have a whole bank of our stuff. So thanks for coming out with that.
And we have to thank Endo for introducing us to Advanced HID and Traktor and giving us the rundown and the private lesson on YouTube or on Skype. Sorry, not YouTube.
So for those of us who don't know that feature, what is it? Advanced
Sorry?
HID. What?
It's when we connect USB cables to the back of the CDJs and use them as sound cards. And we have a hub and then an X1, and we use 3 to 4 CDJs as well.
Nicely.
So yeah, it's amazing, and it takes away we used to use a external audio sound card, but we decided to let's uncomplicate our lives. So yeah.
Are you guys making a D2 that's going to be a little bit lighter, by chance?
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah, we'll get. Joyce.
I've been a Traktor user since about 2008, I think. As I came from playing vinyl and CDs, and I saw DJs like Chris Liebing play their relentless techno in a very straightforward way, being very flexible. I wanted to do that with my kind of music as well, so I made the switch to go internal right away, which then was kind of the devil's work. And I think it changed my DJ style a lot. It really it made a world of difference for me.
In what way did it change your style, right?
I was able to do all these things that I was never able to do before, like take little loops from here and there and then combine them in different ways, layer things on top of other things, and it's a very organic and very technical way of DJing. But I mean, I really loved it, and still now, like I think it's not just playing one track after the other. So it's not classical DJing the way it was invented in the 70s, but I think it's a lot more creative and interesting. But it's just my personal opinion.
I mean, Endo or Blondish, do you share the same notion? It's not traditional DJing, or what is it up to you?
Yeah, I feel like it just gives you a lot more flexibility. Like, with the vinyl days, you're playing a track, outro to intro, but now you can really take control of your mix and play it the way you want to, duplicating the decks, skipping breakdowns, and really, it gives you more control over the mix, I feel like.
And obviously, you've got a lot more control with your 900 mappings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So apart from your 900 mappings, what is your favorite feature in stock standard Traktor?
Beat jump.
Okay.
I use 32 beat jump. It's like 8 bars, so as long as you drop on the one, you can use the beat jump to mix and phrase, but also jump to different sections of the track, quickly rather than waiting for the track to get into the good stuff.
But yeah.
What's our favorite?
Favorite feature, yeah.
Mine is just the looping, like being able to save the loops really quickly, because you make when we're playing, that's where the magic happens, when you create that loop on the fly, and then you could just save those
into a remix set, right?
Yeah. You just pull it out.
Joyce?
The beat jump thing is pretty. That also changed my DJ life. It's a very good way of what Ender's saying, getting to the right moment of the track that you want to hear, or go backward, or skip a break, things like that. Also, looking for music is relatively easy in Traktor. I think there's some changes that can be made maybe in the future, but finding the right music, archiving everything in a good way, being able to select the right thing at the right moments. It's a lot easier than when you're looking on a little CD screen.
Commenting, yeah?
Yeah, commenting, yes.
Yeah, commenting.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So what changes would you like to see to the...
First of all, I think there needs to be color coding. I mean, I don't really know why that's still not in there. Like, I'm a very visual person. I was very happy to have all the artwork. I always need to update the artwork because that's how I recognize a track. I don't read track titles or artist names. Half the time I don't know whose tracks I'm playing. I just look at the artwork. That's it. So I would like to have codes for, let's say, an intense track, like a very heavy track, which could be red, and like more chilled out one, orange or yellow. Just a way to make things even more easy. And on top of that, I also need like another 10, 20, or 30 more favorite playlists, because those are the ones that I actually only use, and there needs to be a lot more of those.
I would like to see a functionality of how you can preview a track without actually having to drag it and drop it into the main player. Because sometimes I don't have enough time, and I'll make a lot of my playlists in Traktor. So it'd be great just to be able to play it right there, as though you're going through tracks and like in a fast way. So it takes too much time, when you're pressed for time. And yeah, it's like too much wrist action. So I think that's a functionality that you did not just do that.
It's okay. It's all good, man.
People here.
We know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just it'd be better for time wise.
And go for it.
Didn't I?
Is there anything you want to say?
I know, we're like one.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, yours said it. I would love color coding. Also, more favorites. Like I use smart playlists for keys, so key compatibilities, and there's 12 keys. So that's my 12 favorites right there. I would love an extra 12 or 50. No. But that, and I really miss the native mix recording feature from Traktor DJ.
What is that?
Native mix recording was, instead of recording the audio of a mix, it's recording all the actions that you do in Traktor, like play, loop, effects. So you can basically sit on your couch, do a whole mix, and it records all the playing and everything you're doing. And then you can go back and overdub the effects, and then go back and overdub again. So that's how I used to make my mixes, and it was genius. So that's my biggest feature request ever.
Was it?
Never asked for it.
So guys, what happened? What happened to the feature?
Traktor Pro 1 happened. I mean, a lot of like code had to be like refreshed, and that was basically part of like very old code, which was kind of a little bit sketchy already, not perfect. So it was put on hold, and then stems happened,
So you had other priorities, yeah.
Exactly.
But it's possible for it to be reintroduced,
sure.
right? Cool.
And I agree, it was a great feature for sure.
Okay, that's great. This is cool. I want to ask you guys, when you DJ, because you DJ on your own, I take it, and Joyce on your own, I guess, yeah?
Sometimes. Last night I did a show at Amsterdam Studios with Nick Venturi together. We both are on Traktor, and it's also very good back-to-back. We're both on different sets, of course, and it works flawlessly. Like the speed is pretty much like throughout 2.5 hours, it's the same. Once in a while, a little pitch, but you can see what the other person is doing. It's in that sense very easy.
So you've got 2 setups, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. How does it work for you guys?
Yeah, we do it pretty traditionally. Actually, we play a couple tracks each with our HID. I mean, what else do we do? Yeah, it's pretty natural. I don't know. We spend so much time together that it just like naturally flows. Everything. Like if I feel like playing 3 tracks or 4 even, I'll figure out a way to do it.
Or if I can't find my way to the bathroom and like she has to play 4 tracks and then like.
Okay. But in terms of the direction of the set you're going to play, I mean, do you ever talk? Do you have a discussion about that beforehand, or you just
Yeah,
you know,
well,
you work like?
Sometimes.
Well, lately we've been we spend a lot of time like in open airs and stuff, so the sound kind of changes towards festivals and like clubs in Europe. So we definitely have different sets that we need to talk about for sure.
It definitely varies with where we're playing, what the region, the time of the day, what the that city is used to. Kind of, we vary our sets a lot. We like to keep it interesting, not just for the audience, but for us as well.
And that's just the one laptop you're using, right?
Yeah, we're using one laptop, but we're transitioning right now to live show. So we're learning a lot about different functionalities and incorporating Ableton with Traktor, and it's just a lot to learn. It's kind of overwhelming actually, but really exciting at the same time.
Cool. Okay. Whilst performing, can you talk us through? Perhaps you had like either a eureka moment where you're using Traktor and it's like, you know what, this is amazing, or the opposite where you're like, ah!
I mean, I have those moments every night. Yeah, I just when I started getting into deck duplicating, automatic doubles, that just really changed everything I did. And you can duplicate a deck, set the EQs to the same, and swap out the channels and just do live remixes on the fly. Luckily, knock on wood, there hasn't been any problems for a long time actually with Traktor, so I'm really happy about that.
I think for us it's just the robustness of the system. Like you can really count on it. We've never really had any issues at all, and that's kind of what we were trying to. Because you travel so much, you need it to be robust. Because you're professionals, and then if it just breaks down, you look like a retard. You know what I mean? So we can really count on it. So thank you.
But a eureka moment, perhaps something where you know what, this is such an amazing tool.
Yeah. When we transitioned from when we were playing CDs together, and like having to burn all those CDs back in the day, and write all the tracks on the CDs, and it was just like, there needs to be an end to this, and then going into USB, and then we decided just to switch to Traktor, and it was definitely a eureka moment. You can actually put comments, what this sounds like, kind of reminders, and we have so much music. I mean, any DJ has so much music. There's no way you can remember every single song and what it sounds like, especially in the digital age. So that was just, I mean, I'm just stating the obvious, obviously, but it was just, definite eureka moment. And we never really ever thought this sucks. Not just because you're here, but we really never thought that.
I really like the history too. Yeah. The history was nice because like a lot of times, I mean, the way I relate to music is that nostalgic moment at that gig, and you always have the history and the archive of all your playlists, so you can just directly, that's how we connect to it. You can directly go back there and get that track and play it on that set when you have that feeling at that moment. You know what I mean?
Joyce?
What was the question again?
Either a eureka moment where this is amazing, or and.
Well, it's probably going to sound a bit like a Traktor ad, but I feel very confident having a system that I can rely on. I think even technically back in the days there were some issues, maybe also because the computers were less strong. It was crashing or the sound stopped. There were things happening, but that actually doesn't happen anymore. So, and if it does happen, then it's probably because I messed up something technically. But it's a system I can rely on when I'm standing in front of 10, 15,000 people. I can feel confident, and I know the program so well that it makes me feel confident. Yeah, that's very, very important, I think.
That's fun. I've got a kind of a related question just for me personally. I'm always curious to know people's file management techniques in terms of tracks. Can you talk us through your approach?
I think this is one of the
go on.
Yeah, this is one of the interesting things in Traktor. You have your tree and all the folders that you can put everything in. So it's relatively easy. I mean, to be honest, it's never that easy that you can just with one click get the exact right track, because as the other people say as well, we probably have like more than 10,000 tracks on a computer from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and we all want to find those classics that we were playing back then. And sometimes it's a challenge finding them, because first of all, as I said earlier, I don't remember track titles or artist names. So, but what I personally do, I archive all my tracks by month, and then by promos, and inside Traktor, as soon as I get on the plane, I take my laptop out and I start writing comments and beat marking everything, and that's the moment when I do all the archiving and putting them in the favorites. And I always make a playlist as well, just to be sure. As I said also before, I think there needs to be more favorites, like quick playlists, so you can have a bit more access to the right things. Because one of the things I'm noticing is that if I have my playlist with house, like if there's 10 or 20 new tracks every week, then that is becoming a very big folder. And then, I try to stay away from these big folders, so because there's too much music in there. So that's one of there needs to be ways to get that working a bit better.
Viv, Anastasia?
We organize our music differently. Viv's gotten really into Beatport Pro, the application, and I personally haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on it. And I organize my playlists in Traktor in terms of the clubs or the venues, the parties that we're playing at. So, Fabric or whatever. You name it, the name of the club, and then the year. And so I just remember the type of vibe that I want to create for that night. And sometimes they go in categories of starters and then main tracks, like peak, whatever. And obviously the comments help a lot. So that's how I do mine. But I'm sure there's better ways to do it, because now I have like a lot of, it's really long on Traktor to scroll down. So, but I use the favorites a lot. Yeah, and like yours said, Joris or yours? Yeah. Okay, whichever. So he said, I would love to have more favorites, because it's just easy access. And you just drag in the newest playlists in that section. But she has another way, which is probably a lot more efficient than mine.
What is that Beatport thing?
It's another application that you need to get over a hump to use. But whatever, I did it. So basically, mine is definitely not the most efficient way, but I do it anyway. And it keeps growing. I use the mood tags in Beatport Pro, which keeps growing as well. It's kind of like the comment section. So I definitely do like peak. I use the rating system first. So techno would be like 5, and then like ambient Indian stuff would be like 1, or sampling stuff would be 1 or 2. And then I do all my moods, but the thing is my moods tags keep growing because I relate them to nostalgic moments like Tulum or Ibiza or After Hours or this kind of stuff. But I keep having more amazing nostalgic moments around the world. So it keeps growing, but I always remember those. It's just like a record, the color of the record, you're always going to remember that versus the artist or like he was saying. So then I map with an XML or whatever. I map the mood tag to the comment section in Traktor, and it's automatic. So I do it by month as well. But
Endo?
Yeah, if you guys want to see Viv's system, she did a really good video on Beatport Pro as well. So it definitely is inspiring. And shout out to our boy Rich, who developed the program right here in the front.
Oh, okay.
Rich Hopper. So yeah, my system is crazy. I'm a big smart playlist guy in iTunes, and I've developed this kind of algorithm with smart playlists for key compatibilities and modulations, and those are built into Traktor's favorites. So basically, I can see the key of the track in the deck, like we'll say 8A, which is A minor. I hit the number 8 on my keyboard, it goes to that that favorites playlist, and everything that mixes with that track is right in front of me with the newest stuff at the top. So I've just been building this on long plane flights, and it's amazing. So, and once you get too harmonic, you just hit a button and you can modulate and go up half steps. So that's my system. But, before a gig, I'll make a playlist of like 200 tracks that I want to play, and then I have smart playlists that feed off of that playlist, and that's how I DJ. I'm trying to figure out a way to like put it into a file and sell the thing.
I have a question. So when you press 8, it brings up all the genres of ADE or whatever, and then you can further in that playlist just type, let's say, techno or.
Yeah. So.
It just breaks it down.
So when I push 8, it goes to the playlist that's feeding off my gig playlist that has everything that would mix with an 8, like a 7A, 8A, 9A, or the harmonic, the relative major. But and then if I want to narrow it down even more, I can type for groover or techno, or then it just narrows it down to stuff that will sound good.
Yeah, I never mix in key.
You're talking about mixed in key.
Yep.
So, for those of us who don't know what mixed in key is, can you let us know what that is?
Mixed in Key is a program made by this guy Yakov, and it's based. Oh my God, he's here! Shout out to Yakov.
Cool.
So it's this I used to go through every record and figure out on the piano what key the song is, which is like a set of notes. Mixed in Key will analyze your files, figure out the key of the track, and actually write in the comments tag the key of the track, so you can sort your playlist by key, giving you tracks that have the same notes, basically. So, subliminally on the dance floor, you're getting this harmonic progression it really affects your moods, and it's really changed my life as a DJ. Yeah. Check it out.
Well, thank you.
And Traktor has a key detection in it as well, built in now.
So what's in your opinion, what is the nerdiest thing you've done for Traktor? Like the nerdiest, next level nerdiness, even for Endo, even for me.
Yeah, that machine mapping. The day I got my machine, I stayed up for 3 days straight making this map, and that's how I learned mapping and Traktor. Like, if you want to really learn Traktor, start mapping, and you can make it do backflips really, and come up with cool workflow tweaks that will give you a new style.
And that's available, right?
That's available. It's on MIDI Monsters. We have like mappings for all different controllers, machines, X1, CDJs. So MIDImonsters.com.
So you're very comfortable with Traktor. You'll use it in your live sets and performing. Where do you see your performing going with Traktor? And what opportunities would you like to see open up using Traktor?
We can definitely give some input on this one. I personally, we've been meditating a lot and just exploring this kind of stuff. And it's brought us to a place where we've realized that music is actually a lot more than just a waveform. And it's opened that sound is actually a lot of different layers. And I don't know if you guys know, you can actually see sound. It's like a...
Study of cymatics.
Yeah.
It's the study of cymatics, the study of visual sound, or sound made visible through different mediums, such as water or sand or salt or whatever, or even, what's it called? Powder?
Cornstarch.
Cornstarch. And then basically you use a plate, like a metal plate, and you vibrate a different frequency. And it turns into this geometric pattern, a beautiful natural shape. And that's what the scientist Hans Jenny back in the 50s discovered and developed. And basically what the point of our story is, that we would like to see a visual aspect in Traktor that changes the two-dimensionality of sound waves. Because apparently what they're saying, we don't know if this is true, but we've seen cymatics experiments. They're saying sound is not just a two-dimensional wave. It's actually a bubble, 3D or 5D or whatever, 10D, a bubble of geometric patterns Like imagine you're playing a violin, sound is coming like this. It's not just, two-dimensional. So I think that in the future it'd be really, really amazing to see what you're playing actually streamed or shown in three-dimensional. So maybe something like that in the future, 2050, whatever. We're still using Traktor. Seeing what you're playing actually looks like.
I want the 432 feature, please. Por favor.
And what's the 432 feature?
Yes, like Western scale, has been rounded up. But naturally, we are more attuned to 432 or 528 or whatever. This is the natural tuning of the earth. I mean, of the universe. So this kind of feature.
We're just putting it out
We're
there.
going inside, man.
Without getting into details right now, it would be nice to have this feature because we did this experiment with our album, and whether or not it's because we did this, it's resonating with the listeners in a nice way or not, I don't know, but I feel like it has been working for us, and it's been a personal little experiment. So it would be nice to have the music being able to just turn it down from 4/4 to 432 the natural way, Pythagoras tuning or whatever. And I want more features.
So thanks. Did you compare this when you did it for the album? Like, did you have somebody listen to it and you didn't tell them what tuning it was on? And
We don't tell anyone anything. Like, listen, I've done the test myself, and I personally cannot tell with my ears. She's more with her ears. I cannot tell. I'm more theory. The chord goes here, transposed that way, but I can't hear as well as other people can. I don't have perfect pitch. So when I did the test, I wasn't that good at it. But it's definitely when you look at it, when you look at cymatics and you see the visual representation of the track, it's a beautiful image when it's in natural tuning. When it's in Western, Western scale has brought us amazing things too. I'm not just disregarding it, but the visual representation is beautiful. Whereas it's a bit noisy when it's tuned to 440. Yeah. So.
Anyways, going out there.
Coolest request we got in a while.
Cool. Joyce?
One of the things that Native Instruments is very good at is, I'm not trying to be too rough on you guys, but it sometimes dictates a bit the way the controllers are built, the way things are made. They are kind of dictating how you should be playing as a DJ. You can remap things, but when I buy a Traktor controller, it has everything written on it. It says you have to use this way. I'm curious if you guys in the future maybe are going to have some controllers and applications that are going to be a bit more a bit more interactive in the sense that you can decide for yourself where you would like to have what controller. There's a lot of companies making controllers that are kind of blank, but so maybe you guys, because Traktor is your product in the first place, so you probably know how to use it best. But I'm still curious if there's going to be something like this.
There are some. I definitely agree. I think there are some basics that kind of always are going to stay, like the play button, the Q button, the sync button potentially. But already with S8 and D2, we kind of like started going into this direction. Also now with our new roles, we are the guys who are very close to the artists as well. So we are hearing this more and more, or like more in a direct way now as well. So for example, what we did with S8 and D2, because we have those screens, they give us a lot of flexibilities. So we've been talking to Richie in the very beginning of the development as well. So for example, on those two controllers, we have a mode for the faders, the knobs above, and the buttons below that you can basically map them to whatever you want. So you get your own tab on the display, you can really visualize it. So I think that's already like a step in the right direction, but we're getting there.
Sounds cool though.
Endo?
I guess for me, I'm always kind of searching for the perfect DJ setup. And I'm always switching things around. Like one controller always does something really good, but it doesn't do something else. And, vice versa. Like like I love the D2s. You can see the screen on it, but you can't remap them yet. So I have to use other controllers with it because I have these other mappings, whereas the CDJs has limited functionality. So I guess I'm just waiting, and I love touching my music. That's something I can't go away from. So I'm just waiting for the perfect controller where you can touch your music but still have the beat jump functionality and all that kind of stuff built on it. So.
Okay. All right. So unless you guys have got any questions you'd like to ask. Okay, question at the back here. Wait for the mic, please.
So a question for the DJs. What's your way to, keep your eyes off the screen and not get too zoned in on what, you're watching at the screen all the time? Because that's kind of my problem. I know sometimes when I'm DJing with Traktor, I get too zoned into the program with other tricks. And I wonder what's kind of your trick to avoid that?
How do you play? What's your setup?
S4 and a laptop, of course.
Okay. I'm not sure with the S4. But like we use the CDJs as controllers in HID. So that everything comes up on the CDJ. So you can just do your scrolling and everything there. The only time we have to look is if you want to type something and have that reference. So that's our solution, at least.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think that's a good question because you don't want to see DJ looking at his laptop anymore, and thankfully nowadays that's not necessary anymore. The controllers are so good, whether it's a Native Instruments controller or another one. You like the scrolling can be done on the controller. You just have to look at your laptop once in a while to decide what you're going to play. But the rest, there's absolutely no need to look at your computer. I mean, just listen to the music. Which is, I think, one comment. This is a very technical panel, of course, but we're talking a lot about the technical things and how we can loop and skip and jump and whatnot. But sometimes we also have to think about the fact that we're actually playing music, and we don't have to dissect every single track that's made. So it's just a little side thought.
If you have stems, then you are dissecting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's thank our panel for a wonderful insight into Traktor. Thank you very much.